Sal Capaccio joining us on the Western Hotline. Jeremy and Joe. Joe's out today. Nate Geary is in. You can hang out with us and celebrate the Josh Allen MVP. He's the MVP of the NFL. First Bills player to be the MVP since Thurman Thomas in 1991. Good morning, Sal.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. It's very cool. Good morning, guys. Really cool for the Josh. Really cool for Bills fans to say you have the most valuable player of the National Football League.
His speech was great, too. I mean, very Josh all the way, thanking everybody and ending with a Go Bills. You know, Sal, I don't know if they find out ahead of time or how it all works. I got the feeling Allen was the favorite going into the night, but there was the question, would he get the award considering Lamar was first-team All-Pro, and it's not often that those two are split. But when I saw McDermott, Bean, his parents, everybody he's ever met at the awards show, I kind of felt confident that it was indeed going to be his night.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the case. Like, people knew, right? Like, maybe they were told because Lamar wasn't even there. There were some indications. And then Tracy Wolfson, leaked it early. I don't know if you saw that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about. She kind of posted early. I don't know if she meant to or she just said, hey, I know this, so I'm going to put it up. I don't know either way. And then I'm like, man, what is that all about? So it was trending that way all night. I would say this. It's funny. A lot's been made about first-team All-Pro quarterback and how that player generally is the MVP over somebody who didn't make it. And I agree with that. I would say maybe it shouldn't be that way, right? I think maybe this year is a great case study in the word value. We've debated it so much. It doesn't have to be the person who wins the first team All-Pro is also the most valuable. That's Offensive Player of the Year is what an award is like this for. That's a stats award. Now, Josh had great stats. Lamar had better stats overall for a lot of the positive stuff. Like some of the negative stuff, Josh had better stats. Sure, we can dig into that. But I think that the story, maybe we should look at it reverse, which is, oh, my God, I can't believe the person who didn't get the first-team All-Pro is also the MVP. Well, maybe we should have that a little more often because the word value is so subjective that you can certainly be the most valuable player without being the person who wins the first-team All-Pro award.
Sal, let me ask you, when you were watching yesterday, the thing that I was saying to Jeremy that I loved was seeing that on the stage as the announcement was being made by Kurt Warner, you had both Shady McCoy and Deion Dawkins kind of seeing and reacting in real time as they announced the pick and pointing to Josh. I thought it was really cool to have Deion Dawkins be a part of that. And Jeremy and I were also kind of lamenting it's kind of too bad. We each wanted to see him get a nod for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. But I thought it was really awesome to see Shady and Deion there celebrating this with Josh. And I think there were a lot of people there happy for Josh outside of Bills fans and people that follow the organization.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, last night, on top of what you guys said about, how everybody was there and it was trending that way, they also kind of did a lot with Josh last night, right? They showed him early on. They talked about him. He was in that little thing about reading the book. There was all these different things they talked about. And then he wins the Sportsmanship Award, which was wild, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the sportsman and the MVP. He's in 1 year, Josh Allen was voted most overrated, biggest trash talker, the Sportsman of the Year, and the MVP. I mean, the guy gets the the quadruple championship there, whatever it is. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think there were a lot of people very happy for him, and they should be. As far as the stage was concerned, Deion was great on the stage last night, and the couple of times that he was up there for a couple of different things. And you're right, Nate. Shady McCoy, as much as he's Philly, and he was up there to represent Saquon Barkley, he has been a very, very big Josh Allen booster since he was here and left and played with Josh very briefly in Josh's young career.
Sal Capaccio joining us on the Worcester Hotline after the NFL awards. To wrap up the awards, Damar Hamlin did not win Comeback Player of the Year. We did not have Joe Brady win Assistant Coach of the Year. So, honored to be what I'm sure. The honor is to be nominated in a couple of those cases. I do think it was a great night for Brady, though, because he didn't win Assistant Coach of the Year, but that's Ben Johnson, as many would have expected. But the Allen win is a big win for Brady. Sal, I mean not that anything happened in between the end of the season and the award show, but Joe Brady's resume is looking pretty shiny right now.
Yeah, it is, and Joe Brady wound up finishing 5th in Assistant Coach of the Year voting, and then he now can say he had I mean, the second highest scoring offense in the NFL and the league MVP under, his offense. It's Josh Allen, we know that, and he's great anyway, regardless of who the coordinator is, but no doubt about it, a guy that's just been a coordinator here for the Bills, at least for the last year and a half, and very briefly before that in Carolina a couple of years ago. It looks great for him. And if Joe Brady and the Bills can duplicate what they did this year in some regard on offense and score 30 points a game or close to it, I think maybe we're talking about Joe Brady actually getting one of these offers for a head coach opportunity next year. We know he certainly was close and a finalist, it seemed like, for at least one job this year, but I think that's probably the case next year if this sort of thing happens, especially after the year he had and now Josh Allen winning MVP.
As we approach the Super Bowl and then into the offseason, you've started your State of the Bills series at the website, and you've started with two positions that might be as locked in as any that they've got, right? Quarterback and running back are up at WGR550.com.
Yeah, there's really only two questions. There's two at quarterback and there's a couple at running back, but the main question is the same for both position guys, which is, when does the top guy get a contract extension? Does he get a contract extension? That's Josh Allen. That's James Cook. Let's start with quarterback. Josh Allen is going into he has 4 years left on his deal. He's scheduled to make $43 million in against the salary cap. Count that. Look, I mean, that's actually only 10th highest in the league. So you're getting a bargain there. But at the same time, it's over 60 next year. And I believe he got a $1.5 million bonus, by the way, by winning MVP. So that might even count a little bit more and go into next year on the cap. That being said, though, at some point, I think Brandon Beane and Josh Allen and his reps might have to get together and literally rip up his deal, give him a new one. Maybe you can even lower this year's cap to be able to do that, to adjust things. But at some point, I think Josh Allen, it's not about restructuring anymore. It might be really about a new deal and an extension. He's under contract for 4 more years. He's got more than that in his body, obviously, to play. That's probably his prime years, and then what do you want beyond that? The number 2 question at quarterback is who becomes the backup next year. That'll be sorted out in training camp, but it is something to watch in the offseason during mini camps and things like that. You have Mitch Trubisky, Mike White, and Shane Buechele all under contract. Now, I'm not saying Shane Buechele's going to win it, but they like him a lot, guys. I will tell you, they like Shane Buechele, and it was unfortunate he got hurt in preseason. They love his moxie, his toughness, but obviously Trubisky's been here. Mike White has been here all year, but that's going to be an interesting battle. And then at running back, same question applies. It's really going to be interesting how the Bills approach this whole thing with James Cook. James Cook is going into his 4th year. He is eligible for a contract extension. I think I would make the case that I don't know if I were the Bills, I want to do that right now. He's got the highest value possible right now after the year he had, and he's a running back. And you don't want it. You have to be very careful about how you pay running backs. I think teams are starting to shift there. But it's not about James Cook. You'd love James Cook, but you also have mechanisms to keep him here if you don't get a contract extension. You could give him the franchise tag or the transition tag. Now, if the Bills do it, that's great. He's counting $5 million against the cap next year. Any extension might actually raise that, not lower it, because of what they're going to have to give him. But it's a tricky situation, I think, at that position. He goes into a bucket with, it's James Cook, Terrell Bernard, Khalil Shakir, Greg Rousseau, and Christian Benford. There are 5 guys going into the final year of their deal where you may want to get an extension, and I wonder what the pecking order is there. The only other issue at running back is Ty Johnson and Reggie Gilliam, both free agents. I think they'd like to have them both back. I do wonder if Ty Johnson has a market after the year he had as a 3rd down back. It wouldn't be a heavy market, but I do think the Bills, would still want to retain him either way.
The Bills also made a move on their coaching staff yesterday, Sal.
Yeah, let me get the name here. You guys, I think you reported it during I want to get his name right. What did Josh say?
It's Ryan Nielsen.
Ryan Nielsen of the formerly the Jaguars and the Falcons, and defensive, just adding to their defensive staff.
Yeah, and by the way, this is on the heels of Jason Rebrovich, who's also been brought back. Jason is a Clarence native. He coached with the Bills under Jim Schwartz's defense and then Rex Ryan. He is brought back. He was a pass rush specialist coach in Green Bay, then a D-line coach. He's the assistant D-line coach now. Matt Edwards no longer on staff for the Bills. And then Nielsen as well. And look, Joe Marino made a great point, actually, on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, when this was announced. This guy actually comes from a lineage of playing a little bit more man-to-man defense. And we saw the Bills uptick in man-to-man defense, the last couple of years, especially this year, I should say. I do think, guys, I wonder, after everything we heard from Sean McDermott, after everything we heard from Brandon Beane, after seeing this hire here, I wonder if the Bills are in for a bit of a philosophical shift and they're thinking of being different on defense next year. Maybe is it a complete philosophical shift? Do they have to completely overhaul some of their personnel that they have to do it? I'm not quite sure about that, but I do wonder if we're looking at a bit of a defensive scheme shift for the Buffalo Bills next year.
All right. Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. All right, Sal. Well, awards are done. Off to the Super Bowl. We had the Hall of Fame class, too. Sterling Sharp gets in. I don't know about you. I was happy about that. Sterling Sharp was great. Had to retire early. I almost felt like he had been forgotten about and kind of left behind. So very happy to see him go in.
Yeah, and look, I am, too. I'll tell you. It was interesting. I thought maybe I'm like, wait a minute, did they forget guys? You don't have to put in any more than 4. 4 guys got to go in. Only 3 modern era guys went in this year, right? So you got who are the ones? Eric Allen and Jared Allen and Sterling Sharp. Who was the last player that went in this year? Who am I missing here? Anyway, they only had 3 modern era Hall of Fame.
Antonio
this
Gates.
Year.
Antonio Gates.
Thank you, Antonio Gates. I will tell you, when we did the exercise the other day, I had Jared Allen. I had Antonio Gates. I chose 5. I didn't have Eric. I had Jared, not Eric. I didn't have Eric on mine, but he's so totally deserving. But one thing I noticed going through it was a tougher class because I think it's a weaker class, to be honest. That's no disrespect to those guys who got in. But I think overall the class was a bit weaker, and I think that reflected it last night. You had 3 guys go in from the modern era. That's it. Eli Manning didn't get in. I don't think he should be a first ballot guy. Maybe down the road Eli deserves to get in for the Super Bowls and being he put up some numbers and longevity or whatever, but never a top 10 guy. He's not even top 10 in any statistical category. Never led the league in anything but interceptions. But this isn't about Eli. He didn't get in last night. There are several guys on that list that eventually I think will get in. But I thought last night was a good job to, hey, there's not many guys here that might be really deserving right now, and they only put 3 in, and then Sterling Sharp.
Not bad. Good for Joe's not here to celebrate because he would have celebrated Eli not getting in. But not bad. Not a bad class. So anyone on at the Super Bowl? Sal, you want to make a pick? Want to pick a game script? Any thought?
It's hard for me not to pick any game script that isn't the Chiefs winning near the end because that's just what happens.
I know.
It just feels like it's inevitable, and that's what's going to happen. I hate saying it. I'm sorry. I can see a path for the Eagles to win. I definitely think they have the team to win. I think they have the running back to win. There's no doubt about that. But the little lines in the margins, 2 weeks to prepare, it just always feels like that's what the Chiefs do. That's what Andy Reid does. That's what Patrick Mahomes does. The Eagles have not had a great kicking game this year, despite having a kicker that's been very good the last few years. And the Chiefs always seem to win those close games, as we know. So my game script is hard not to see the Chiefs winning a game like that. Although I hope I'm wrong. I will definitely be rooting for the Eagles and Western New York native Nick Sirianni as head coach. That would be pretty cool for him.
All right. Thank you, Sal.
You got it, guys.
Sal Capaccio.